I do have one more question. In the
Yeah,
documentary,
you can ask me 6 more questions.
In the documentary, your parents say there's nothing redeeming about your new album.
Yeah, my parents fucking hated it. And you know what the crazy thing is?
Really?
Yeah, they hated the album. And the thing that's crazy is I played the album for so many different people around the world on all 7 continents. Nobody liked the album.
No way.
It was insane. The Maasai tribe hated the album. I played it for some people in Machu Picchu at a spiritual place. They did not like the album. I played it for so many different people, different walks of life, and the results were everyone hated it. But I love it, and that's the reality. Is this for me? This one's for me. And this very well could be my last album. We don't know if this is gonna be one more maybe, or maybe this is it. But as far as I'm concerned, I feel like this is the end of a trilogy.
Okay.
There's a world where this is probably gonna be it.
He flew to Rio de Janeiro for the very first time in his life. He spent his last full day playing soccer in the streets, getting his iconic bowl cut touched up, cooking dinner with a new friend, and laughing his way through a city he'd never seen before. And less than 24 hours after posting that footage, Oliver Tree was gone. He was 32 years old, and the last thing the world saw from him was pure, unfiltered joy. Let's walk through exactly what happened. For people who only know him from one viral clip or one song, here's the fuller picture. Oliver TreeThe was born June 29, 1993 in Santa Cruz, California, and he was making music before most artists his age had even picked up an instrument seriously. Piano lessons as a toddler, songwriting as a kid, performing in ska bands as a teenager before going solo. He was producing experimental electronic music on SoundCloud under the alias KFE back around 2010, years before that sound had any mainstream foothold. Then came Vine, and the character that made him a household name, Turbo. The bowl cut, the oversized clothing, the scooter, the comedy that walked an almost impossible line between bit and genuine artistry. Most people who try that line fall into being a gimmick. Oliver never did, because underneath the persona, the music was real and people felt it. He signed with Atlantic Records in 2017, but that relationship was always complicated. Oliver directed his own videos, produced his own music, and built his own creative universe, and the major label system was never built for someone who didn't want to be packaged. The hits kept coming anyway. Life Goes On in 2021 became a global anthem with over 464 million YouTube views. Miss You with Robin Schulz crossed 382 million. He set a Guinness World Record for the world's largest kick scooter while directing his own music videos. That was the full Oliver Tree experience. Maximum creativity, maximum weirdness, and it all worked. By 2026, he had done something most artists only talk about. He walked away from the major label system entirely, launched his own label Alien Boy Records, and in April 2026 released his 4th studio album, Love You Madly, Hate You Badly. His first fully independent record, made completely his way. To support it, he announced what he called the world's first world tour, over 70 shows across more than 30 countries, spanning all 7 continents, including a planned date in Antarctica. The tour launched May 30th in Mexico City. He played Buenos Aires on June 4th, then Sao Paulo on June 6th. That Sao Paulo show was only the 4th date of a 70-plus show run. He was just getting started. Instead of immediately moving on to prepare for the European leg, Oliver stayed in Brazil. He explored it. He lived in it, because that's who he was. Never the artist who hides in a hotel room between shows. During those days, he connected with a Brazilian content creator named IA Break, a popular local influencer with a massive following. What they made together wasn't a calculated brand partnership. It was 2 creative people who genuinely vibed, built around a simple premise: an American experiencing Brazil for the first time, completely open and completely game for whatever came next. On Saturday, June 13th, the day before everything changed, Oliver and IA Break spent the day together, doing things that were somehow both wonderfully ordinary and completely unforgettable. They played soccer in the streets, Oliver fully committed in a Brazilian jersey, scoring a goal and shouting Neymar's name right in the middle of the 2026 World Cup, which had Brazil fully electric at that exact moment. They rode bicycles through the city. He got his bowl cut touched up by a local barber who now has a story for life. They cooked together, getting hands-on with Brazilian cuisine in an actual kitchen rather than some curated restaurant moment. They rode motorcycles through the streets. They went back to the soccer field, where Oliver jumped around with roses and a World Cup trophy replica in hand. IA Break posted it all to Instagram with the caption, "Gringo 24 horas no Brazil, an American's 24 hours in Brazil." Oliver's own song Worth Nothing played underneath the footage as the clips rolled. That detail carries a weight now that's hard to sit with. That specific song playing under the final hours of joy anyone would ever see from him. That video, posted Saturday, June 13th, was Oliver Tree's last public post. On Sunday morning, June 14th, 2026, Oliver was aboard a helicopter flying over Rio de Janeiro. With him were Argentine YouTuber Gaspar Prim Diaz, known as Gaspi, Argentine director Lucas Vignale, and Brazilian music producer Lucas Froda, with pilot Alexandre Souza flying the aircraft. A second helicopter, piloted solo by Charles Marcelac, was in the same airspace. The two aircraft collided mid-air over the Recreio dos Bandeirantes neighborhood in Rio's western zone. One of the helicopters came down on the parking lot of a car dealership, igniting a fire that spread to several electric vehicles parked there. All 6 people aboard both aircraft were killed. Brazilian authorities, including the National Civil Aviation Agency and the Center for Investigation and Prevention of Aeronautical Accidents, opened a formal investigation. As of now, the official cause hasn't been confirmed, though one investigator has noted that human error is among the possibilities being examined. Identifying the bodies took time, given the severity of the crash. Oliver's father, Jesse Nickel, said the family learned of his death through a producer in Brazil who had been working on music with him. The reaction across the internet was immediate. Fans flooded the comments of that final Instagram video in English and Portuguese, mourning someone they'd never met but somehow felt they knew. That was always the strange gift of Oliver Tree. The persona was big and theatrical, but the realness underneath it always came through. Among the tributes, one from Whitney Cummings stood out. She said that level of talent usually comes packaged with ego and difficult behavior, but that Oliver was pure love, the best version of what an artist and a person can be. She said there was no silver lining. The world lost a giant. KSI posted that Oliver was 32, that he should still be here, that there was so much more music and life left for him to make. And then there was IA Break, the man who had just spent Oliver's entire last day on Earth with him, filming, laughing, cooking, riding through the city together. After the news broke, he posted to Instagram with nothing but 5 crying emojis. Sometimes there's nothing else to say. What gets lost here goes beyond the tragedy itself. Oliver had just released the first album he ever made entirely on his own terms. He was 4 shows into a 70-plus date tour that was supposed to take him through Europe, then a North American run starting in Nashville in late July with stops in Atlanta, Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Chicago, and a dozen other cities, then Australia and New Zealand in October. All of it is now expected to be canceled. His catalog sits at more than 1 billion combined YouTube views, nearly 20 million followers across platforms, and over 11 million monthly Spotify listeners, numbers built almost entirely on his own terms, directing his own work and refusing to be flattened into something safer. What Oliver represented went beyond the streaming numbers. For a generation of artists and fans who never felt like they fit cleanly into one box, he was proof that you could be funny and emotional in the same breath, that the internet could be a creative medium and not just a distribution tool, and that staying weird and staying independent didn't have to come at the cost of staying real. His story isn't really about how it ended. It's about how he spent that last day, fully present, fully himself, in a country he'd never visited, throwing himself into every bit of it without holding anything back. The jersey, the goal, the haircut, the kitchen, the motorcycle, the soccer ball one more time before the night ended. His final post has now been watched over 24 million times. Every one of those views is somebody watching him be completely, unapologetically himself, one last time. Life Goes On was the song that made him a household name. Those 3 words carry something different now. He believed that. He built an entire career around that idea, and now the people who loved his music have to figure out what it means to carry that forward without him. Rest in peace, Oliver Tree. Drop your favorite memory of his music in the comments below.